What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about creating an epic life on your terms. Today's topic is what to do when you feel like an outsider and the things nobody tells you. Because if you ask me and I look around, what I always read, it's like, try to make friends or try not to care what the people think of you and so on. But we never really talk about the circle itself. Why you've chosen this environment. And this is actually something we carry with us throughout our life until we change that pattern. What I mean by this is that we decide what kind of environment we put ourselves in. And if we put ourselves into an environment and if we stay in an environment where people do not understand us, it's because we have the subconscious limiting belief that we are not understandable, that people can't understand us. I'm not saying that you're not unique. I'm unique. I used to have so much trouble in school and kids picking on me because I was different, because I was doing my own thing. But the truth is this, we're adults now. We can now decide where we want to go. But our mind keeps playing this game that we had back from childhood, back from this environment where it was mirrored back to us that there's something wrong with us. So that's actually the first step I want you to take. It's to realize that if you feel like an outsider, it's not because of something you do within that circle. It's not that you have to convince people that they like you. It's not that you don't have to care what they do and then they're gonna like you. It's that you're in the wrong environment in the first place. Why are you being in an environment where you're not being understood? And you might say, well, but nobody understands me. No matter where I go, I feel misunderstood. That's because this is where your horizon lays. You believe that everywhere people misunderstand you. And I can tell you this from experience. I always used to look for situations or workplaces that mirrored back to me that I should be more specific, more detail oriented, that I should be better at those hard skills I never really liked. Why? Because to be honest, those are things my dad always wanted me to be. But this is just a very unique example. But what I have learned is that I have to decide what kind of circle I want so I can then take the steps to get there. So stop asking yourself why the current circle you're in does not understand you. They just don't. Most people won't. And that has nothing to do with who you are. It's just that you have decided to put yourself in a circle where people do not understand you. The people that get understood, they have the self-confidence and the self-love to put themselves there. No matter who you think of, that is living that life you always wanted, that is always being understood, that are surrounded by people who actually get them, they have the self-confidence and the love to go for that. Even if it's somebody that's completely different than you are, why are they not in the environment where you would thrive? They're not, because they know that this would be an environment where they would not be understood. So really realize this. Do not shy away from this. We are in control here and we have to realize this first step before we can move on. The second step is for you to actually write down exactly what you want. Like if you would have this dream life, how would it look like? What kind of people would be there? How would they perceive you? How would you show up? What kind of value would you bring? And people have told you this probably millions of times, but have you actually sat down with a piece of paper, written it down, and not shied away because you thought, well, this is not possible. This is not realistic. What would be realistic? No, I'm talking about this dream scenario, because only when you define it, you can actually take the steps to get there. So I, for example, wanted to be understood. And in my environment, I couldn't do that. There were parts of me that were so important to me that I couldn't express in my current environment, for example, before I started this channel. So what did I do? I started the channel. I started talking to you. I started to reach out to people who understand me. Of course, throughout the years, I realized more and more what I actually wanted and how much more I can create, and also the people in my real life adapted. I stopped working in the financial world, which was not the perfect place for me. I used to think I have to do something that is uncomfortable in order for me to be successful. But then I realized, no, let me write down what I actually want. I want to be successful while doing something that I love to do, which I'm great at. And that's what I'm doing today. It was a step-by-step process, but it all started with me writing down exactly what I want. what I wanted in my business, what I wanted from my friends, what I wanted from a partner. I wrote that all down. I defined it so then I can take the steps to get there. And then we come to step number 3, which is creating the whole thing. So this one is a little tricky, so stick with me. There are 3 aspects to think about. First off, what of the wishes that you want can be created by you? What of those wishes, what of those circumstances can be created by your environment? I'll give you a quick example. So let's say you want to be in a group where you talk about social conditions or political circumstances. You can't just do that by yourself. You have to put yourself in a situation where your environment has to also believe in these things. You don't have to be the leader of this group. You have to find a group that is close to that will get you to the next step that you can join. This is something where you take control by going to those places, by signing up, although you know you don't know anybody in this area, but you're leaning into the life you want by allowing other people to fill up that space around you that you crave so much. In other instances, it's very important that you personally take responsibility for it. Let's say you would love to have great birthday parties, but you never feel you're strong enough to take the responsibility of hosting because then it's on you if it's boring. But that's a responsibility you have to take on. You have to be the one who says, if I want to have this excitement in my life, I have to be the one creating it. There are certain things we cannot give off to the people around us, no matter how well we try to accumulate them. You have to be the one who makes it happen. In this process, I also love the Use 5 pillars, and I talk a lot about it with my clients. The 5 pillars of the Epic Life Masterclass, which is physical energy management, relationship management, wealth management, a vocation, which is pretty much having a meaning in life and doing something that really fills you up, and priority management. It's important that you make progress in all of those 5 areas, and you start by defining what you want in each category. So let me repeat this whole process so you remember how we got from being an outsider to somebody who creates the epic life you always wanted. If you're an outsider, realize that it's because you put yourself in this situation. You might think you don't have a choice, but until you realize that it's your responsibility, that theoretically you could quit your job, you could quit your friends, you could quit your city and just move somewhere else and start completely new. This is an extreme case, of course, but I want you to realize it's all in our head. And you don't have to take those massive shifts from one second to the other. You can do little things. But first realize that you're responsible for feeling like an outsider, not because you're not adapting to the group, but because you've put yourself in a group with people who are not like you, who do not understand you, and who don't value what you get to offer. So realize that you deserve to be valued, deserve to be understood, and take the steps to be surrounded by people who actually do. The second step is to actually define what you want from life. How do you want to be understood? How do you want to be seen? How you want to show up? What kind of excitement level you want in your life? All of those things are important. If you do not define them, nothing is going to happen. It's like saying, well, I want a better life, but how? Like, what does that mean? I know it's difficult sometimes, and that's why I love the 5 pillars so much. That's part of the third step. And if you aren't able to define everything before you start creating, also use the 5 steps for the definition part. Where do you want to be in your physical energy management? Where do you want to be in your relationships? Work relationship, friendships, intimate partnerships, your family life, and really dare to dream big. What is it you actually want? You have a horrible relationship with your parents? Still, have a goal that there's full harmony, that nobody nags you, and that you all laugh together. Write it down. If you do not even say it, if you do not even say to yourself, this is what I want, how in the world are you supposed to lean towards that? The third one is wealth management. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? How can you improve your money game to a point where you feel content, where you don't have to worry about money? And if you want to step even further, you can take the steps then. But where are you right now and where do you want to go? Vocation, also a very important part that should never be neglected. We all have a special gift. We are all unique. And bringing that gift out and helping people with it is the fastest way to a fulfilled life. So do not neglect vocation. And the last one is priority management. Meaning if you look at all of those areas in your life that you spend time on right now, what of those things are important and not urgent? What of those things are urgent but not important? Define them so you can switch them up and just say, I'm only gonna focus on things which are urgent and important, and then on things that are important and not urgent before I actually focus on things that are urgent but not important. I really hope that helped you. If you wanna dive deeper and accelerate your growth process, check out all the links in the description. There's coaching, there are courses, everything you can think of. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.